WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany, tasting, well, rare and exotic whiskeys. Today I have something from Springbank Cask Strength 12. It's not really that rare, but this is batch number 22, 55.4%. It was bottled on the 14th of April 2021, 12 years old, 50% ex-bourbon, 50% ex-sherry. People at Springbank, please, if at all possible, please write down the cask composition on the bottle someplace so we don't have to look it up. You have to print a new label anyways for each batch, so why not? The other thing I don't really understand is batch number 22 has the bottle code 21/62. I'm not sure if that has any relevance or not. But hey, batch number 22 is then bottle code 21. So I paid 99 euros for my bottle at the moment. These are going from anywhere between 100 and all the way up to 180 euros over here in Europe, at least in Germany here. We have things in the UK, we have things in Belgium, we have things in Germany, we have bottles all over in Poland, we have all over here bottles. Did I mention Whiskybase number 183244? And it is Cask Strength. Look, I'm a member now of the Springbank committee. Yay, I'm a committee member of Springbank. Very good. One of my newest bottles that I have is a committee release that I bought. And I paid a lot of money, not for the bottle, but for shipping and import and taxes and all that to get it over here. Well, that's a whole different story. We'll talk about that next. I'm going to compare it to the 10. Why? Well, I just did my video about the Hazelburn, and every time I drink the Hazelburn, it just does this. Oh, look, it smells good. Oh, look, it tastes good. But wait, what happens at the finish? Good, yucky. I dislike this finish a lot. So I'm going to compare it to something which is half the price, if you can find the 10-year-old. Yes, it is, excuse me, only 46%. This is 55.4. Batch 22. I am not yet, I'm working on it, I am not yet a Springbank fanboy. I will, if everything goes right, be at the distillery in May of 2022. I'm really looking forward to that. That's going to be a highlight. I'll be at Glen Scotia, and then we'll actually go over to Ireland, visit all the distilleries within 1 week, and do a lot of warehouse tours, and do some normal tours, and visit a few places, and just have a wonderful, wonderful week. And we'll see how much I can film and how much I can actually just experience. That's going to be a really, really cool trip there, for me at least. Good. So, going back here to the 2019 malt whiskey yearbook, we have the information that they actually started in 1973 to distill heavily peated malt, which later became known as Longrow. I did not know that. And in 1997, they started at Springbank to distill triple distilled, which became Hazelburn. So, and in 2009, the distillery introduced Springbank Open Day. So I'd call it Open Door Day, but it's Open Day. And that became something starting 2014, which is now known as the Campbellton Malt Festival. Maybe you've heard of the Campbellton Malt Festival releases from Glen Scotia. That's because Springbank started it all. Isn't that cool? That is the smallest region. Definitely here, Campbelltown with its Glengoyne, with its Springbank, and with its Glen Scotia. Only those three distilleries make up that little thing here. Oh, and I wanted to mention one other thing, which I have to read still. I've memorized. It says Springbank is distilled twice. It's distilled 2.5 times. My mistake. 12 to 15 ppm. Longrow is distilled twice, 50 to 55, and Hazelburn is distilled 3 times and unpeated. Now, when Springbank is produced, the malted barley, and 100% of their barley is malted at the distillery. Well done, guys and girls. It is dried using 6 hours of peat smoke and then 30 hours of hot air. In comparison, Longrow requires 48 hours of peat smoke. And in 2018, there is a total of 175 liters of alcohol that were produced, 10% Longrow and 10% here. Where Hazelburn, they did up it up. They wanted to up it up into 2020 to about 220,000. COVID didn't really allow that. Don't forget, at Glenfarclas, one of the workers there actually died on COVID, due to COVID, and that put a little bit of a shock through the whiskey industry. Glenfarclas closed down the visitor center for the whole year. They implemented very strict regulations of social distancing and tried to protect their workers, rightfully so, as much as they could. And Springbank employs a lot of local people, some people that are physically challenged and so on, or mentally challenged. And they're a local employer, and they try to do as much as possible to protect their employees from anything. So they actually did close down the plant for a longer time than other people who just said, I don't care, we're just going to work our shifts anyways. And most of it was computerized and had automation involved. Springbank is 100% handmade. No computers. You have to crank some, so you have to crank the cranks. You have to actually push some buttons. You have to maybe even pull ropes and pulleys, and who knows what else is going on there. It does have electric power, but no computerization, no automatization, and so it was all done by hand, even the bottling and so on. And so that's something that they limited a lot. So we're going to have even less Springbank in the world to go around. All right, on the nose. Now, there is the sherry moment there. 50% sherry, 50% ex-bourbon. Please write that on the label. Please put on the label the cask composition. Would really help us. Doing new labels anyways. And that sherry has a lot of the sulfur in there, and that kind of that bothers me. I do not believe that sulfur belongs in a whiskey. It is a note that is not native to whiskey. So here the 10, much better, much fuller, much richer, much more sugary, malty goodness with a little bit of funk in there. So I don't know about you, but I do not personally have at this moment the feeling that Springbank and sherry are the best combination. Just me. All right, just my thoughts and so on. That's the question of the day. What cask composition do you like for your Springbank? My gut feeling is ex-bourbon and Springbank work together very well. Port, Madeira work together very well with Springbank. And some of the sherries have been just either way too much sherry and not enough Springbank, or they've been sulfured and also something that I did not like. So what is your personal opinion? Which Springbank casks do you like the best? On the nose, it's a C. So sorry. But the 55.4% are fairly well integrated. Cheers. Yeah, the 55% are there. You notice them. They're not bad. Really, this is the question is, what is the batch size for this? I'm looking on online at the Whiskybase 183244. There's 1,154 different people at Whiskybase that put this in their collection. Many of them with 2 or 3 bottles. And I would guess, my personal opinion, once again, of the freaks out there in the whiskey world, less than 10% use Whiskybase. So I'm going to guess this was maybe about a 20,000 bottle release. It could have been 30,000, it could have been 50,000, but somewhere around that range. I'm going to go between 20 and 30,000. So let's go for a 25,000 bottle release. Second question of the day, does anyone know what the release number, how many bottles were actually released of this into the world out there? So I have here 12-year-old Springbank. It was the 14th of April 2001, and batch 21, as I said, /62. No other information there on the timestamp. There's a little bit of barrel char, there's a little bit of honey, it is a complex whiskey. There's a lot going on there. There's some fruit, there's some dried apricots and so on, but the whole time I'm still getting a little bit of that sulfur moment, which distracts me at the moment, all right? There's a saltiness, there's a little bit of a vanilla moment. This is complex. I'm sure there's people out there that are going to go, wow, one of the best whiskeys ever. So in the ratings here, we have people grading it from 93s, which is a very, very high mark, all the way down here to our, yeah, the lowest is like an 80, 81, but most of them are 87 plus. So we're at the moment, we're at 88 votes at Whiskybase from almost 200 people. Anything above an 84, you should look at. Anything above an 86, you should buy. Anything above an 88, hey, if you can buy it, really buy it. So this is something that the general public, at least the people on Whiskybase, really, really enjoy. A very highly rated, a highly popular whiskey bottle. I, on the other hand, must admit, a little bit of that sulfur in there. Yeah, I'm going to add a tiny little bit of water to this. I think water is something this could actually help, and then go over very briefly to my... I like the Springbank 10 a lot, to be honest. That fruity, malty goodness over here. It is only 46%. It is only 10 years old. It is only about 50, anywhere between 45 and 50 euros. And yet, good. This is like a B- for me. Over here, let's go back to the Springbank 10. Sorry, Springbank 12 Cask Strength. If I remember correctly, the batch 21 was a weirdo. It had a lot of different things in there. I think it was even 10% port. 20 was a little bit more normal, as it is here. Springbank do a lot of funky type of stuff there. Their 21, the composition of the casks change all the time. Please put it on the label. I think I've mentioned that now 5 times in the last 2 videos. So this came out basically May of 2021. Water does it good, but still that sulfur is there a little bit. It's better. It has a good mouthfeel. I should give this is a C+ whiskey, C++. I can't give it a B, I'm sorry, due to the sulfur in there, but everything else is okay, and I'm really hammering in that word sulfur, unfortunately. It just distracts from the goodness of this whiskey, which it could be. All right, so question number 1. I forgot what question number 1 is. Question number 2. What was the batch here of... oh, yeah. How big was the batch? Question number 1 is what type of cask do you prefer for your Springbank whiskey? All right, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for liking, subscribing, and thank you very much for helping me reach 2,000 subscribers. Wow, that's great. And I'll keep on putting out input and my videos as at the moment. And if you have any suggestions for anything that could be better, or you like maybe even a bottle that can reach over here that you might not be able to reach over there, wherever there is, maybe write it in the comments as well. And we'll be seeing each other very, very soon. Springbank, see you. Bye-bye.